while because I want to talk about hyperpop, but hyperpop isn't as big as it's probably going to be yet, so I sort of want to wait
I'm
to
not
talk
aware
about
of what
hyperpop.
that is.
Oh, so hyperpop is the easiest artist to sort of recommend for this, who whenever you listen to them for the first time, you're probably going to hate them because it's really a lot. But if you give it some time, it's like, oh no, I sort of get the appeal of this. 100 gecs. It's overproduced is the flavor, if that makes sense. It's on purpose. They're using over-the-top auto-tune. They're dynamically changing synths in and out to the point that it's offensive. Like, it's horrifically mastered in some parts to just be distorted to the heavens, but it's on purpose. It's a stylistic choice to basically have overproduced pop music, and it's so cool. Have a listen. Next week, I'm going to ask you about 100 gecs, and I'm going to see what you think, because you're probably going to hate it. So, for anyone who didn't listen to last podcast, which I recommend you do, it was a good time, I introduced Joe to something he'd never heard of before, which is something that I think is going to be a trend. I want to do a full episode on it at some point when it gets more well known, because I think it might be the next big trend. It's tipped to be the next big trend. It's hyperpop. It's overproduced. It's insane. It's the best thing I've ever heard. Joe, what's your first impression of hyperpop?
Right. Do you remember, feel free to censor this if you think it's necessary. Do you remember the band Int? Okay.
Yes.
Hyperpop is to pop what Int is to metal. It is like going way overboard, sort of for the sake of it, sort of jokily, but also kind of not.
It's on
like,
purpose.
Yeah, you can get the impression that it started as a joke, and then they've gone, oh, we actually quite like this, and just sort of kept doing it.
Everyone that I know that's listened to it has gone through that, because it's like, I can't listen to people listen to this serious. What do you mean people listen to this seriously? And then you get a month in and you're like, that one is sort of a bop though, isn't it? And
See,
then you get desensitized to it. That's the thing, is that, like heavy metal, because when that first came out, nobody thought that heavy metal was cool, and like even just stuff like, I don't know, your Led Zeppelins and your Black Sabbaths. Like nowadays, that's not heavy, but people thought it was at the time. This may be the way of hyperpop. Hyperpop might be paving the way for some extreme stuff that's coming that this is going to seem soft against.
Maybe.
Put them eyebrows back down. That this might be happening. You need to prepare yourself.
I know you said that, you know, people they listen to it first and they hate it, and they listen to it again and they start to like it or whatever, and it becomes sort of a guilty pleasure, but sort of not at the same time. I don't think I will ever be able to do that, because
no, and that's fine. It's not going to be for everyone. Not every genre's for everyone.
Fuck me, like Jesus.
I think, I don't know. There's something about it that definitely probably started as how offensive, and I called it offensive last week, and I stand by that as a sort of a descriptor for it, because it is like, it's sort of offensive, isn't it? It's
to
like
the senses,
it's not,
yeah.
Like the lyrics aren't like, well, some of the lyrics aren't, but it's like, it's not. It's been there's a word, and I'm terrible at words. Why do I keep doing this? Is provocative the right word? It's trying to evoke a response because
overstimulating
it's so extreme.
Is what it is.
Yeah, it's definitely overstimulating. And I think when that becomes a honed sound, which it's getting along to have, sort of, it has a sound that is hyperpop. And when people start being a little bit more desensitized to the extreme mixing and editing that's going on, it might just become a genre. It might just become something that people acknowledge exists, because it already is a genre. It just needs to sort of hone itself a little bit and have more people make music.
It needs to break through that initial sort of retching feeling that you get when you listen to it, where it's just like, fucking hell, I want to die while listening to this. They need to break through that. Or maybe the marketing for that type of music will be, yeah. Maybe the whole point of it is to hook in the people who will get it and everyone else can fuck off, kind of thing. Sort of like what metal is. Like, if you don't like it at your first listen, then I don't know.
But then
everybody's
things
different.
That I don't know if gentrify is the right word, but there's things that sort of come out with metal in that then starts to popularize it a little bit more. So I'm talking the Doom soundtrack, that people play Doom, go, that music is perfect for this because this is brutal. And all of a sudden now they're desensitized to how aggressive metal is, and then they might be able to welcome themselves into the world of metal via that. Sort of Call of Duty for the longest time has used metal as it's like, if you level up, it plays a little metal riff. There's just a few things that you can sprinkle here and there that sort of desensitize you to those sounds. That means when you listen to that music, you're just listening to sounds you've heard before. That's fine. You're desensitized to them. Hyperpop might go that way.
I think hyperpop was made by people who have experience with heavy rock music, because when I was listening to it, it was mixed sort of like a rock song. Like the vocals were not the focus.
Absolutely.
Like the instrumentation was really high.
These are not people who I think traditionally make pop that are then going extreme with it. I think these are people who like pop, probably, but are from a making heavier music, rock music, whatever background. That would be my guess too.
I think people who like normal pop will not like this. I think people who like heavier music are more likely to like hyperpop than people who like generic pop.
However, I think, and I don't know if it's going to go this way because I don't know who's going to adopt it, but if some pop artists start adopting it, and it always ends up being a little bit washed out anyway, you know, like the grime artists that get really, really big, or people who start adopting grime, that's not the traditional sort of grime that people who are really big fans of grime would associate with it. It's sort of a watered down pop style of it. We might get that with hyperpop. We might get some people adopt a bit of that style and sort of wash it out a little bit. But yeah, I'd agree. Like, people that like rock music are probably more likely to like this. But as I said, 100 Gex, they have like a song that's a ska song. It's just a ska song, but none of the instruments are traditional because they're all synthed, or they're sampled, or they're messed up to the point that they don't even sound like an instrument anymore. But it's a ska song. It's got all the you know, the offbeat things. It's got the drums that you'd associate with ska. It's a ska song. That's less likely to come from a pop artist.
Yeah,
cool though, isn't
it? I was just thinking then, I was just comparing it to dubstep. Like, remember when dubstep came out, it was like massive sort of revolution. Like, people were like, oh my God, what is this sound? And then it was there for a few years, and then it kind of dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I think there's a few people still making dubstep, or it shows up in a few other artists' catalogue. But yeah, no, it's a niche. It's very small, and there's probably still fans of it. But yeah, no, it doesn't have an active scene as such.
Yeah, I'm just sort of thinking because
the pop sphere.
Because the thing that made dubstep popular was how, like, say, offensive it is. It's sort of like massive overstimulation, massive
aggressive
sounds, and I think because that's the feeling that people wanted to get from every dubstep song they listen to. Like that, you listen to dubstep and that's what you sort of hope to get. I'm wondering if the same might apply to hyperpop, that people want that overstimulation and they listen to it for a while and then
you can only overstimulate for so long.
Yeah. Like, unless it starts evoking other emotions that give it a longer shelf life, then
is sort of... Well, no, the only way that they survive this is by being more than just overstimulation.
Yeah.
And I think it could be. It definitely could be, because it could be good songs. Dubstep didn't do that and couldn't do that because it barely had lyrics. Like, vocals are such a huge part of pop music in the way that people remember them. We said this last week about, like, some people just say the words, what does that artist sing? Not what songs do they have? What do they sing? Because the vocals are the important bit. The singer is the important bit. Dubstep doesn't have that. Hyperpop does. So it could fall on the other side of the fence there, just based on the fact that if people get desensitized to the overstimulation of just everything that's going on, if the songs are good, all of a sudden they've just got a genre of music that they like.
Yeah,
you know?
They've definitely got much more to play with, like all the different sounds they can use and everything. They can, because pop music, as we say, is not really a genre. You can make sort of any song you can sort of do any genre and it can be a pop song depending on, how it's produced and how it's performed and stuff. And I think because of that, they have a lot more to play with. Like you say, they've done a ska song. They could sample every genre and keep it the same. So yeah, I don't think they'll fall to the same thing that dubstep did, but they have to, they can't just rely.
Something that
they can't just rely on how offensive it is to carry them forever.
True, and I think if they do get some pop artists adopting the styles, even if it's in a wishy-washy sort of way, that could be a really good thing. That could be a way that, like, it sort of launch pads that genre into people's homes, like the radio's playing it and whatever. But also it could just kill off the sort of OGs, and then it just becomes a fad. It becomes something that pop artists do for a year and then kill off. So I don't know, I guess sort of a thing for this, and I'm not overly educated on this type of music, so I might be a little bit off here, but like something like mumble rap that, Drake did a bit of, I don't know if he still is, but like I assume mumble rap had like some early artists that were making that sort of style of rap that never made it big. People take over it. They've done other music before, but is gentrify the right word? I want to keep using gentrify.
Normalize, I think, is better.
They normalize.
They popularize it and then they water it down, and then they make it accessible to the masses.
Yeah, and then if that doesn't launchpad that genre up, and it's just, pop has a bit of this influence in it now, as soon as a new fad comes along and the pop artists start doing something else, it's dead. It's gone. That's it. Bye-bye. Hyperpop could have that. But it could not. We have no way of knowing. And I guess this has just become our prediction of where
because
Hyperpop might go. And we can come back to this.
What defines it is the production. It's not the the type of song that it could be. So I think it.
Yeah, you could have like a hyperpop metal song. You could take really heavy guitars, really heavy drums, edit them to the point that it doesn't sound like a human's playing them, and then pop vocal. Okay. Baby metal definitely could go this way. If baby metal wanted to go the way of hyperpop, they could without many changes. That's a thought. And they're huge.
That's fair to say.
But yeah, you could literally do any genre into hyperpop, and it might just become hyper metal and hyper rock. That might be the way that this goes, is hyper in front of stuff just becomes a modifier to sort of do the genre. That could be a thing. God, that'd be
like core used to be.
I want that. Yeah, pop core.
That was probably already a thing.
Yeah, maybe search it in on SoundCloud or Bandcamp or something. There's probably a lot of weird artists calling themselves it. So I guess the point here is hyperpop needs to make its own destiny, and there's a lot of different paths that it could go. Joe doesn't like it, doesn't think he's ever going to like it. So in like 3 years, 4 years time, when we talk about hyperpop, I'm going to ask Joe if he likes it now. And we're going to see if it became a fad or just became a viable genre. Because currently, in most people's eyes, not a viable genre. Not real music. It's metal in the 70s or whatever, it's offensive, and I like it.